Waco. I am your host, Debbie, here to help you get in the know about Waco. This week, I'm going to be talking about an ongoing exhibit happening at Cultivate 712. And today, I have a very special guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Debbie. My name is Wendy Michelle Davis, and I am 3 years a native here in Waco, originally from California. I am a kind of a full-time artist. I'm working towards being self-sufficient as an artist. I also do floral design on the side,
Ooh.
and I teach as an adjunct in the English department at MCC.
Wow, that's great. And I know you said you've been here for 3 years. So what originally brought you to Waco?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think a lot of it had to do with moving back from living abroad and realizing that California is just a difficult place to establish oneself and make a living, and just looked far and wide, and Waco's kind of the place where I settled down in. It's beautiful here, incredibly friendly. I love Texas, and I really feel like Waco's home.
Yeah. And where were you at abroad?
I was living in the Middle East in Abu Dhabi. I was teaching there.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I
Yeah.
love that. I was actually born in Germany, so anytime anybody asks, I'm like, oh, well, I was born in Germany. So it's a super cool. Not a lot of people get that life experience.
Oh, cool.
So I assume
Yeah.
it is quite a culture shock. In the 3 years that you've been in Waco, how have you noticed a shift, or how have you noticed it's changing?
You mean as far as coming back to the U.S.?
Yeah. And even just being in Waco itself.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, living abroad, of course, you get used to living in that culture, living in the Middle East, living in a more conservative lifestyle, and then coming back to the U.S., learning just the light switches are not on the insides of the bathroom, or they are on the insides, not the outsides of the doors, just random things like that. I could go on and on about the changes, but I mean, moving back to the U.S., it felt good to come home, and it felt good to be back in a part of my culture that I was, brought up in.
Yeah. And so you're a teacher now, and so your passion is art. Do you want to tell me about your art journey?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I've loved art since I was a child. I didn't have parents who were artists, but they were really good about making sure I had the supplies and, indulging my desire to create. They would always bring home lots of paper and pencils and things like that. And in high school, I did quite a few art classes, but I also was really big into sports. So it wasn't really until after I graduated with a degree in English that I started taking lots of art classes, mostly painting, but all sorts of things. And I've always come around back to painting. I paint in acrylics, so that's my favorite medium. And I just thrive in that medium. I love the butteriness of the paint and painting on canvas. It's great.
Yeah. And how would you describe your style?
Sure. I guess it's a little bit of impressionistic, slightly abstract sometimes. I always gravitate towards nature, florals, botanical type things, and I never get tired of that subject. There's always a million things to paint.
Yeah, and your newest collection is now on display at Cultivate, and it's your Cameron Park collection. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. I'm really excited about it. When I moved to Waco 3 years ago, I discovered Cameron Park, and I spent lots of time there hiking on the trails and just enjoying, having nature so close to me. It's a great park, and I love spending time there. So I would always take lots of photographs when I was hiking of the trails and the different scenes, lots of the rivers there too. And I've always had it on the back of my mind. I would love to paint this when I get a chance. And this past spring, I took a class through Creative Waco, which is an incredible nonprofit
I love
that
Fiona,
supports.
amazing Stephanie, so great.
Oh my goodness, I can't say enough. Creative Waco's been wonderful. I took a course called Greenhouse that
with Luann.
yes, with Luann
Okay,
Jennings.
perfect.
Yeah, she's amazing too. So it just that kind of pushed me into doing this project because we kind of had to have a plan, and it was kind of my future plan. And so it's great to see that all come to fruition and see that show up at Cultivate. It's there this month, but it's also there next month as well. So I'm excited to have another opening this first Friday in October.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And I saw that one of your paintings was of Jacob's Ladder. So you said you love sports. Have you done Jacob's Ladder?
I have. I can't say it's something I frequent.
I was going to say, I personally was out of breath 3 steps in. So
Yeah, no, I used to do stairs like that all the time. Jacob's Ladder is challenging, but it's also one of those iconic locations in Cameron Park. So how could I not paint that?
Yeah, what would you say are some of the top iconic locations of Cameron Park?
Sure. Well, definitely Jacob's Ladder, and then I think like the view from Lover's Leap
Of
is one that
course,
people
yes,
love.
gorgeous.
The mouth of the Bosque where the rivers, connect there. But then I honestly just love the trail. So if you look at my collection, you'll see that over half of it are just different scenes of trails throughout the park.
Yeah, and I love doing the river trail. It goes all the way, and it actually puts you out at MCC. So it's pretty great if you go all the way down, then you're at MCC, and you're like, oh, wait, what? I'm all the way over here? I didn't realize. And then if you walk all the way back, you're like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm going to do now, but I just spent the last, hour of my life.
Yes, yeah. And ironically, I haven't really hiked the MCC side as much as I have the other side of the park, but even though I teach there, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. And how long have you been at MCC?
You know what? I started teaching there as an adjunct in 2018. And then I haven't taught for over a year. When COVID hit, of course, the attendance went way down because students were having to take classes online. But yeah, I just started back this semester, and I'm loving it. I have missed it.
Yeah. So. And speaking of COVID and, all of us having to quarantine at home, what has it been like being creative in that space?
Sure. Yeah. Well, this is another shout out to another great space in Waco. Maker's Edge is a space where that's where I paint, and Creative Waco actually sponsors me to paint there.
Oh wow!
And so, as far as COVID goes, when things started opening back up after those first few months of COVID, we'd wear masks and we would work there. But yeah, Makerspace is a space for people who create, whether you're a woodworker, a potter, you do digital stuff, printmaking. But yeah, I go there and paint. And so as far as painting during COVID, that's a great space. It's a nice big space with big, tall ceilings and very open. So yeah.
Yeah. And what's something you would like to see more of here in Waco?
Well, I mean, I think we do a good job. Wacoans do a really good job supporting the arts. But I will say I would love to reach out to, more people in Waco and make them aware of the great art community we have, the incredible artists that we have in Waco, not just, painters, but I mean, there's incredible musicians here, and goodness, I've seen all kinds of artists, but I would love to see more than just the usual crowd coming out to the openings and things like that. So if we could just spread the word, and you're doing that too, so I appreciate it, Debbie.
Yeah, of course, and that's why I have you on today. I just love sharing the vibrancy and sharing all of our amazing community members here, especially in the field of arts. Like I said, we had Russell Campbell on last week, so kind of another little artist highlight.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and I know you've been doing art for quite a while. Do you have any other pieces that you maybe want to talk about, or some other art you've done in the past?
Sure. I mean, up until Cameron Park, most of the work I was doing over these past few years is still life. I do a lot of florals, being a florist.
Oh yes, I bet. I see your tattoos
flowers,
covered.
Tattoos of flowers everywhere. So obviously, I love florals. So you can definitely inquire on through my website or through Instagram if you're interested in floral paintings. I have quite a few of those right now, and I'm sure I will paint more. I also love painting fruit and things like that. But I love the vibrant colors that you can get out of florals and fruits. But again, doing Cameron Park has given me a new revived passion for landscape too. So I'm sure I'll do more, and I probably want to paint more of Cameron Park, even though the show's up. I'll keep painting it.
Yeah, and have you seen those the animal sculptures that lead down? How do you feel about those?
Those are neat too. That's another way to let artists display their work in Waco. So I think it's wonderful, and it certainly makes walks more interesting when you get to walk past those and check them out.
Yeah, and how do you feel that balance between art and nature really is being shown in our community, especially here in Waco?
That's a really good question. I think it is. I mean, I think the galleries are very open to artists wanting to display nature, and Waco has so much nature all around it. So I think we're even putting nature paintings. There's Allie Menchaca, who's a gal that was in
Yes, I
Creative
love
Waco,
Allie.
did a beautiful mural.
She did
with
my tattoo.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. Well, she's a great artist and tattooist, but she just did a mural downtown.
At the Cactus Rose.
Cactus roses, yeah, the
So
Cactus Rose. So I think
gorgeous.
we're putting nature on buildings through painting and through other mediums, but I think Waco is amazing at that. So letting artists do their thing and get their work out.
Yeah. And now go ahead. I know you said we can find some more of your artworks on your website. Do you want to go ahead and give us your website, all your social medias?
Okay, yes, for sure. Yeah, so my website is wendymichelledavis.com, and there are links to my Instagram there, which is also Wendy Michelle Davis. Facebook as well, I'm on there, and I guess that's about it for now, but yeah, I'm trying to post a lot, so if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I'll give updates on, coming up shows and the things I'll be doing around town and markets. I'm actually doing East Side
Whoop whoop this
Market.
weekend.
Woohoo! I know, 2-year anniversary. Looking forward to that. And
Hopefully it doesn't get rained out again.
I know. I looked at the weather app today and I was like, what? There's actually a chance of rain on Sunday?
I was like, no,
not
that's
okay.
your whole month.
I know.
Because they already had to cancel August. So I was like, there's no way. There's no way it's going to happen.
I know. So let's all just pray that does not happen.
But yeah, Eastside is also a great place for a community and, building those relationships. What has your experience been with it?
Yeah, I've just started doing Eastside. In fact, Creative Waco had a booth at the beginning of the summer. Super hot, of course. We've had
Sweating.
some hot Eastside markets. I think it's a great place. They have, people come out and do murals. And then, of course, you can get their wonderful beer there.
I love the Act
Brother
of
Well.
Faith with lemonade. 10 out of 10. It's
Very
amazing.
good. Perfect summer beer, right?
It's the best.
For sure. Right. So yeah, lots of artists. I mean, I always go out there and I always have a hard time not like spending all my money on everyone else's stuff. So
And that's me to a T.
yeah.
I'm just like, ooh, hey, what do you got? And then, of course, we just have such an amazing crafter and, artisan community. It's so great to support everybody and just hang out with everybody.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this and it's not Sunday yet, please come out and support us because it's going to be super fun. It's going to be super busy, I'm sure. It's going to be loud. It's not going to rain, of course.
No, definitely not at all. But yeah, and then you're going to be at Cultivate for a whole nother month. So you're going to do another opening. Do you want to give a little tease as to what you guys will be doing?
Sure. I mean, the openings are so much fun. It's a great way to come out and support the arts on a Friday night. We're open till 10. We've got drinks. We have live music, lots of people. It's always fun. It's great. I'll be there for sure, and I'd love to meet you if you come out. I'll have prints for sale and cards. So if you want to buy a painting, that's great. If you want to buy a painting, there's still quite a few for sale. But if not, I've got cards and prints starting at $5. So come on out.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us today?
Well, I just appreciate you, Debbie, having me. I know I've been tagging you in my Instagram posts. I'm like,
it's amazing. I love sharing everything. So the more the merrier.
That's great. No, that's great. Thanks for having me. And yeah, that's it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into this week's podcast. This is your host, Debbie, signing off. Now that you know, go. Just go, Waco.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.